Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the red cards in Aether Revolt.
Yeah, so as you said before, we're going to look at them in respect to limited, so draft or sealed. And as we said before, your previous pack will be 4 Aether Revolt packs and 2 Kaladesh packs.
Exactly. We'll be reviewing this according to our 3-tier system. Tier 1, awesome, wins you the game. Tier 2, if you got a couple of these kind of cards, you're going to be going into that color. Tier 3, good filler cards, and the rest of the cards, we're going to put those aside. So let's get started right away with all the common red cards. So the first common card is Implement of Combustion. For 1 generic mana, we get an artifact which you can sacrifice if you pay a red mana to deal 1 point of damage to target player. Also, when this thing goes into the graveyard from the battlefield, we get to draw a card. This is terrible, terribad, awful, another synonym for terrible. Just don't play it. Just put it aside.
Exactly. Next one, Shock. A red instant, Shock deals 2 damage to target creature or player. That one is good. So just play it, 2 damage from 1 mana, instant speed. It's always good.
Yeah, it gives you flexibility to be able to hit your opponent, can hit the creatures, and it's only 1 mana.
Exactly.
So strong. So strong. Next we have, so always play it.
Yeah.
Always play it. Precise Strike for 1 red. It's an instant target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until the end of turn. I think this is a really good, solid combat trick. It's not straight up removal like for example Shock would be, but very good nonetheless, especially because just that 1 mana and being able to give a little bit more reach for your creature when you're dealing damage, or being able to make sure that first strike +1/+1 make sure your creature doesn't die, theirs does. Awesome. Very good, but it's still just a combat trick, so tier 3.
Exactly. So the next one, we have Welder Automaton. It's 2 mana, it's a 2/1 construct. For 3 and a red, Welder Automaton deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it's a mana sink, late game, and it gives you a bit of the reach, but 2/1 for 2 mana, not too bad, not exciting. It's a decent filler because of the ability.
Yeah, I don't like the 2/1s very much.
Neither.
So I probably wouldn't play it, but as a filler, late game, that being able to deal for 1 damage for each 4 mana is something.
Exactly, and that is why I think it's just a decent filler, because of the ability it gives you the reach late game.
Yeah. And of course the fact that you can do something with it early and late means it gives it a little bit more staying power, I think, when you're picking cards to go into that 2 slot. Next card is Aether Chaser for 1 and a red. So for 2 mana, we get a 2/1 Human Artificer with first strike. Now, normally, of course, I don't like the 2/1s. However, this one's got first strike, so now all of a sudden it'll be able to kill a bear and not die itself. Now all of a sudden it's way, way better. Big difference.
Exactly.
Also, when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. Great. And when it attacks, you get to pay 2 energy counters, and if you do, you get a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Very good. Now all of a sudden, I'm going from, hey, this is 2/1, I don't want to play it, to, oh, I'm in red, okay, I guess this is my 2-drop. Play it for sure, tier 2.
Exactly. It's a 2 mana, you get a 2/1 with first strike and a 1/1. And you only have to attack once. So yeah, that's just really good.
Yeah, very good.
So yeah, I'm good tier 2. So Wrangle, 1 and a red, sorcery, gain control target creature with power 4 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. So for 2 mana, you steal a big thing from a bomb of opponent for power less, and that's a surprise, and you attack with it, give it back. It's not as great as always play it, but it's a good filler.
Yeah, I could see myself wanting to attack, but I can't attack because they maybe have something with a big butt. So then all of a sudden now you take over that thing and you're attacking with both your thing that you want to attack with and their big butted creature. And then you're dealing way more damage than otherwise it would have been 0 damage, and that for only 2 mana. And I think that's pretty decent.
Exactly.
Next card is Destructive Tampering for 2 and a red. So for 3, we get a sorcery. We get to choose 1 of 2 options. Number 1 is destroy target artifact. Okay, so we can use that in this set. There's vehicles, there's other artifacts. And 2, creatures without flying can't block this turn. So all the walkie guys, they can't block, which can be actually really nice for a final strike against your opponent. They weren't expecting it. So it has versatility. There's always some point in time where you can use this, and it's only 3 mana, which I think is a pretty decent deal. Would I always play it? No, because still there's going to be moments when it's not going to do enough to bring it to that tier 2 point. So I still think tier 3.
Yeah.
Filler. Right?
Exactly. Umbral or Gear Smasher. 2 and a red, 2/3 human warrior. It can tap and sacrifice an artifact. Umbral Gear Smasher deals 2 damage to each opponent. So you can sacrifice an artifact to deal 2 damage to each opponent. And a 2/3 for 3 isn't that bad. So it's a tier 3, a good filler. It has an upside. It's 2/3 on its own. So yeah, why not?
Actually, I wouldn't even say it's not too bad. I would say actually 2/3 for 3 is very good. I'm very happy with that actually. Perfectly on curve. Next card, Frontline Rebel for 2 and a red. So for 3 mana, we get a 3/3 human warrior. That's a great deal. And this guy attacks each combat available. Okay, that's the downside. But you got a 3/3, why not attack with it? And being able to attack on turn 4 with a 3/3 is going to be huge. And people, especially you're in red, so you got the potential for having nice combat tricks. So people maybe even think maybe this person even wants to attack with it. It might have a combat trick, so it's going to be difficult to block. I think if you're in red, just put it in. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So next one, Chandler's Revolution. 3 and a red, a sorcery. Chandler's Revolution deals 4 damage to target creature. Tap target land. That land doesn't untap until during its controller's next untap step. So for 4 mana, you deal 4 damage to a creature, which is already good. I mean, it's 4 damage, you will kill a lot of things, and then it taps a land of an opponent and doesn't untap the next turn. So you're actually gaining a turn somewhat. Because
they just have 1 mana less next turn.
Yeah,
that's great, right?
Exactly.
I killed your thing, which is great. Now you have less mana. Awesome.
Yeah, so
tier 2, just put it in.
Yeah.
Next one, Sweatworks Brawler for 3 and a red. So for 4 mana, we get a 3/3 with Improvise and Menace. Okay, this is also very, very good. Even without the Improvise, even if you're not getting it at a discount, still getting a 3/3 with Menace for 4 mana is an awesome deal because 3/3s are hard to block anyway. You can't block with your 2/2s. Now all of a sudden you got to double block it, even if you want to stop it from dealing damage. And it's not a bad blocker either itself.
Exactly. So tier 2. Ludnu Sailback. 4 and a red. It's a 5/4 lizard. Vanilla 5/4 lizard.
Dimetrodon though. Should be a 5/4 Dimetrodon, but okay.
So yeah, I mean, if you need a big thing, it's a big thing. So yeah, a good filler, tier 3.
Yeah, exactly. Usually these creatures with high power and somewhat lower toughness usually have very low toughness and they're not interesting anymore.
Yeah,
but this one with 4 toughness is fantastic.
Exactly.
It's going to be doing tons and tons of damage. Still waiting for that dinosaur creature type, because then this one needs to retroactively be turned into that. But that is the last one of the commons, so let's go have a look at the uncommons.
The first uncommon is Invigorated Rampage. 1 and a red, it's an instant, you can choose one. Target creature gets +4/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Or 2 target creature each get +2/+0 and gain trample until end of turn. So you have 4 power that gets split onto 2 and both get trample. So that's really nice, I think. I think it will do a lot of work because a small thing can trade with a bigger thing, or multiple smaller things can trade with a bigger thing, and the power tramples through. Especially with your bomb that attacks, it gets jump blocked, and you can still get so much damage through with this card. That's why I really like this card, and only for 2 mana I want to put it tier 2.
Yeah, exactly. When I first looked at it, I thought, I don't really like this effect that much. However, when I saw the versatility of the fact that you can either do one thing or you can split it over 2, and the fact that it's only 2 mana really brings us to the point where I think, okay, yeah, this will probably lead to 1 or 2 blowouts plus extra damage to your opponent, and that for that amount of mana is actually kind of a steal.
Exactly. I had to fight really hard to get this on tier 2.
Stefan had to fight really hard. I was reluctant. I was like, this is not, but he brought it back. So now it was on tier 3. Now we put it on tier 2 because really you should include it.
Yeah,
it'll definitely do a lot of work. Next card is Ravenous Intruder for 1 and a red. So for 2, we get a 1/2 Gremlin. We can sacrifice an artifact to give this guy +2/+2 to the end of the turn. So it's an ATOG, which eats artifacts. It's eating an invention, Soul Ring, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that, but you can have it eat other stuff that's maybe less relevant, and then it become a 3/4, which is quite nice. And just the threat of it being a 3/4 would be pretty cool. So I would say, yeah, filler card. It gets better the more artifacts you put in your deck, obviously. Exactly. So tier 3, and maybe, of course, if you've got a theme going, then you can put it tier 2. But I wouldn't build around it.
Exactly. It's just a good filler card on its own, and if you have more artifacts, then of course it gets better. But normally just tier 3. Hungry Flames. 2 on the red, instant. Hungry Flames deals 3 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. So it's 5 damage to target player and 3 to target creature for only 3 mana on instant speed. I don't know why you shouldn't just always play this.
There is no reason. That's why you put it on tier 2.
Exactly.
Next card. So we have Reckless Racer for 2 and a red. So for 3 mana, we get a 2/3 human pilot with first strike. Now I like my 2-powered first strike things because they always block bears, which makes me very happy. And also, when this guy becomes tapped, you may discard a card and may draw a card. So it actually also rummages while it's at it. So you're attacking, you're dealing damage, it's hard to block, it's hard to kill, and you're rummaging, giving you kind of card advantage. Well, you're sifting through your cards. Super sweet. I think if you're red, always play it. And a couple of these things, I think I'm going red. Absolutely.
Exactly. And because it only has to be tapped, it can also cool, and then you rummage.
There you go.
So yeah, it's just great.
Super great.
Siege Modification. 1 and 2 red. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature or vehicle. As long as enchanted permanent is a vehicle, it's a creature additional to other types, and it gets +3, +0, and has first strike. So that's really cool because your vehicle becomes a creature. It gets +3, +0, first strike. But as we said before with the white one, it is just not good enough because, as we said about the sorcery speed removal, and it's gonna get 2 for 1.
You have to have both.
Exactly.
You have to have both. It's just not that great.
Yeah.
You don't want. Do you want to put this on one of your creatures and get 2 for 1? No, it doesn't increase the toughness either.
So yeah, just because you get 2 for 1 and the +3, +0, yeah.
This is the kind of card that will trick you into thinking, oh, I can play a couple of more vehicles and this and that, and then when I've got this one, then it's going to be super awesome. But what if you have one card but not the other? And that works for both sides. Then all of a sudden you're in a very ugly situation.
And that's why you just really don't want to play it, because you're just making it so that you can get 2 for 1 or you're missing one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Next we have a Gremlin Infestation for 3 and a red. So for 4 mana, it's an aura. And we can enchant an artifact. Now, at the beginning of your end step, Gremlin Infestation deals 2 damage to enchanted artifact's controller. And should that artifact go into the graveyard, we get a 2/2 Gremlin. So we're going to enchant our opponent's artifact. As long as that thing's on the battlefield, enchant it with this Gremlin Infestation, they're losing life, which is great because we had a similar card called Stab Wound,
yeah.
which also won pre-release games because the 2 damage every single turn just was way too much for people to be able to survive.
Exactly.
So they'd have to get rid of their own artifact, and if they did manage to do that somehow, then you get a 2/2 Gremlin on top of that, and all for the bargain of 4 mana, and I think that's actually pretty good. Will it win games by itself? Is it auto-include? No, sometimes you won't be able to hit something. I'm going to go tier 3. I feel okay filling it as a filler card, but I wouldn't try and build around it.
Yeah, it's a filler card for me because the problem is you really need to have an artifact to enchant.
Yeah.
And that is the problem. I mean, of course, most of the times you will have it, but you always see just when you have it, no artifacts on the other side of the board.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's a tier 3.
Yeah.
So next one, Scrapper Champion. 3 and a red, a 2/2 human artificer with double strike. And when she enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. And when she attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's a 2/2 for 3 with double strike, but the first time she attacks, it's a 3/3 with double strike. So that's really good. And if you have more energy laying around, you can go it every single time.
Yeah, make it even bigger. And of course, just already, let's say a 2/2 with double strike is already going to be making sure that people can't really attack efficiently into you. So already on the defense is good. And of course, attack, it's already dealing 4 damage.
Exactly.
And well, actually, you're always going to be able to have it attack as a 3/3 because you got your energy in
Yeah,
so it's always going to be dealing 6 damage on the offense already right off the bat. And I think for 4 mana, that's a great deal.
Exactly.
Tier 2?
Yeah. Tier 2.
Then we go to the last ones of the uncommons. That is Enraged Giant for 5 and a red. So for 6 mana, we get a 4/4 Giant with Improvise. So maybe it'll be cheaper. It has Trample and Haste. Now, as we saw already, 4 is kind of the cap at the size at which the creatures are over here. So this is pretty chunky. The Trample's nice, means it won't be chump blocked. That's very good. The Improvise might make it cheaper, not sure. In the end, it is a good filler card for when you don't have something at the end of your curve, but I wouldn't jump through any hoops to try and include this.
Yeah, exactly. So tier 3 decent filler.
Exactly. All right, those are the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares. Our first rare is Release the Gremlins for X, X, and red. We get a sorcery. We get to destroy X target artifacts and then create X 2/2 red goblin creature tokens. So for example, if we're paying 5 mana into this, we're going to be able to destroy 2 artifacts and we're going to get 2 2/2s. Pretty decent. Again, as we spoke before, probably you're going to have 1 target, so then you can pay 3 mana, let's say, to destroy a target and get a 2/2, which is not bad.
No,
Scales well, but the question is, will you have more targets to make it really become a total blowout against your opponents? I don't think so, but as a kind of quasi-removal, you're okay with it. Tier 3?
Exactly. These things are always like sideboard cards. Depends on how many things the opponent will have.
Yeah, and normally that's why sideboard cards we put in as a side.
Yeah, exactly. But this one it's always just decent because most of the time someone will play artifacts.
Yeah.
So yeah.
These 2 sets, Kaladesh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why I just put tier 3 because there's always will be a time that's like no artifacts on the other side of board and you really want that. So yeah.
But just see it as pay 3 mana, destroy 1 artifact, get a 2/2.
Exactly.
Right?
Then it's really good.
You're okay, yeah.
So Karizev, Skyship Raider. 1 in a red, a 1/3 human pirate with first strike and menace. And whenever she attacks, you get a 2/1 legendary red monkey named Wagafan that's tapped and attacking. Exile the token until end of combat. So for 2 mana, 1/3 first strike, menace, attacks, you get a monkey, the monkey gets
also
back.
attacks, yeah.
Yeah, and then it gets back every single time you attack. So it has a bit of evasion, it's a first strike, it's a big butt, it gets more things, just really nice.
Yeah, if it would be more powerful, then it would be tier 1 because it would actually be able to win games by itself. But it's really tier 2 because at 2 mana, it's doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, it does so much and it's difficult to destroy because of the big butt too, and with the menace and with the first strike. So yeah, it's just tier 2.
Super strong tier 2.
Tier 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, who doesn't want to swing in with a pirate and have a monkey flying at your opponent's face? I mean, I want that. I want that. So, I mean, she's doing that all over. Then we've got Pia's Revolution for 2 and a red. So for 3 mana with an enchantment, then whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has this card deal 3 damage to him or her. Now, when you think about it, you think, oh, it's awesome, I'm going to be getting my cards back the whole time. But in actuality, that's not going to be the case because it's going to come in turn 3, then turn 4. Your opponent knows this is already on the battlefield. None of your token stuff triggers it. It has to be an artifact, so none of your creatures trigger it either. So it has to be a non-token artifact. And then it has to be important enough that you want it back. And then your opponent's just going to be like, well, I'll just take 3. And then, you don't get it. And then what? No, I just don't think it's going to do enough.
Exactly. And it's 3 mana and you really need to have artifacts.
Yeah.
So after that, it still has to die. And
your opponent needs to want so badly that you don't get it, that they take damage. And otherwise, okay, you got something, but it may not have been that great.
Yeah, exactly. So just put aside because it wouldn't do enough.
No, agreed. Karizev's Expertise for 1 and 2 red. So for 3 mana, we get a sorcery. Gain control of target creature or vehicle. Until end of turn, untap it. It gains haste until the end of turn. And also, you may cast a card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. These Expertises are insane. Always play them. I'm putting it tier 2. I haven't even looked at it carefully. Tier 2. No, but seriously, it's got a threaten effect on it. Plus, you get to cast a 2 or 1 mana card from your hand for free. That is insane value. Think about that. Of course, remember that if you do take that vehicle, it doesn't turn it into a creature. So you still would need to crew it.
That's a shame.
But just a creature. It's fine. Just take it.
Exactly.
Attack, and then you give it back, and you took damage from your own creature. How do you feel now? Plus, I got to play that 2 or 1 mana spell.
Yeah, you can play you can steal a vehicle, play a creature, crew it, attack with it.
What's not to love? Awesome, just always play it.
Exactly. Quicksmith Rebel, 3 in a red, a 3/2 human artificer, and when he enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains tap. This artifact deals 2 damage. Target creature or player for as long as you control Quicksmith Rebel. So we saw it with the drawing one, and this one is really good because the 2 damage to target creature or player.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this one, tier 2.
Yeah, already just the 3/2 for 4 mana. The body is fine, you know.
Yeah.
They could have put this on a 1/1 or a 1/2, and that would have
I
been
would
okay.
still
It
like
would
it.
still be fun. And this thing can also swing in while the other thing is dealing damage. Just does so much work, so many different ways. Early, late, you're always happy with this one,
Exactly.
right? Next card, we have Free Jam Region. So for 4 and 2 reds, so for 6 mana, we get a 4/4 flying dragon with improvise. So once again, we've got a pretty big thing, which we could get cheaper. And for a generic and a red, we can get Fire Breathing, which is basically, in this case, the 2/2/0 until the end of turn. These cards win games. This is tier 1. Just always play it. If you've got this, try and play red because it's got the evasion, it's got the extra reach, it's good early if you can get it cheaper, and it's also good late because then it doesn't matter, you can pump it. There's no situation where it's not good. It looks like a tiger dragon. It's free jamming, so it's some kind of musically inclined dragon as well, which is great. What's not to love?
Exactly. So
that
tier 1.
At tier 1, absolutely. That is the last one of the rares. Let's have a look at the mythics. The first of the red mythics is Indomitable Creativity. For X and 3 red, we get a sorcery. Now, what does this allow us to do is to destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. So, if, for example, let's say we pay 3 into X and then we pay 3. So for 6 mana, we're going to destroy 3 artifacts and or creatures. And then we're going to have the controller of those creatures look at the top of their library until they find artifacts and creatures equal to that amount and put those onto the battlefield. That's essentially what it comes down to. So what you could do is you could do it against your own servo tokens to get better stuff, or you can do it to your opponent to get rid of their bombs and hopefully they'll get something crappy in return.
Hopefully.
So because of that hopefully stuff, I'm not very excited about it. You're paying a lot of mana to hopefully make them have something worse, but they're still getting stuff anyway.
Exactly.
So I'm not too excited about it. I say put that aside.
Yeah, it's the randomness of this card that I don't like.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the reason why I just put it aside. So next one, Lightning Runner. A 3 and 2 red. It's a 2/2 human warrior with double strike and haste. And when Lightning Runner attacks, you get 2 energy counters and you can pay 8 energy counters. And if you do that, you untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So after attacking 4 times with a double strike or haste, you can get
Enough energy to do it,
to get the additional combat phase. But 5 mana for 2/2, it is a double striker, it has haste,
we've gotten
extra combat.
We've gotten bigger double strikers for less.
Yeah,
At more common rarity.
exactly.
And okay, so it's got the haste, you know, but
It has the whenever it attacks 2 energy counters, so that's nice.
but you can't do anything with it right there.
Well, yeah, 8 energy counters. So
Unrealistic, very unrealistic scenario
Exactly.
in limited.
You'll barely ever get it done, except if you're really energy heavy. Then it's okay, but else just put it aside because it's too expensive for what it is doing.
Yeah, exactly. If you are able to attack after turn, at turn 5 with this, and they can't kill it, or they might, and you do have enough energy as well, then you're winning the game anyway. I think.
Exactly.
I don't think this thing's gonna. It's more of a win more card. I don't think it's gonna be swinging the game in your balance anytime soon.
Exactly. So yeah, put it
Put
aside.
it aside. Look for the dragon instead. That'd be much
Exactly.
better. All right. Well, those are the mythics. Let's have a look at the conclusion. In conclusion, red is a color which I do like, actually, because of the removal, dealing damage to creatures is always handy and limited. It's always something you're going to be able to hit, and it gives you also the flexibility, which other removal doesn't, which is you can also hit your opponent's face with it very often at the time, which is, of course, red likes because they like to be aggressive. Mythics, underwhelming.
Yeah,
right?
underwhelming.
Not too great, especially because they got 2, and they couldn't even get one of them. That's great for limited. So that's unfortunate. I gotta say, also the double strike, first strike, a lot of that, menace, a lot of trample, a lot of very good, solid abilities which really help red be very aggressive. And there's just the power and toughness is not too bad. I mean, these are not 1/1 double strikers. I mean, these are 2/2, sometimes 3/3 double strikers, so you can do tons and tons of damage with them. I think for naturally an aggressive strategy, who doesn't like red? But in this case, it's also not only semi-good cards, these are very, very solid cards for that aggressive strategy.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to that. Good creatures, removal, what more do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, everything
couple
is
of good combat tricks as well.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say a couple of good those combat tricks.
So yeah, I mean, red is a really solid color until the mythics.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, okay, then now don't forget to subscribe because then you get a notification when new videos come out. Also, join us on Facebook and Twitter. We'll have discussions about this. Do you not agree? Do you think these mythics are awesome? Please let us know. And I guess that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
This is Budget MTG Decks.